crazy to think that I've been living in the new van now for almost 6 months. And that information is particularly important for this video because 6 months ago, when I decided to move into the NV200 full-time, when I transitioned from the Element, I also decided to kind of give up on the traditional solar system that I had in the Element. So that was just like a 100 amp hour AGM lead acid battery. I had a charge controller and a 100 watt Renogy rigid solar panel on the roof, and I kind of decided to move away from that when I moved into the NV200 full-time. And the reason that I decided to do this, well, there were quite a few reasons, I guess, that I decided to kind of move away from that DIY simple solar system that I had, but the main one was because I already had the Kodiak. When I was living in the Element for a couple of months, like November, December, January, around that time last year, I had the Kodiak and I had my solar system. So I was using my solar system to power my fridge and then also to charge up my phone and camera batteries, things like that, and then I would use the Kodiak just as like a backup source of power that I could use to power my laptop. Say I wanted to work from the Element for a few hours, I could use it to power my laptop, and I also was using it to experiment with cooking on it as well. I know that I made a couple of videos where I was like using friends' instant pots and things like that to kind of test it out and to see how it would work for me if I did decide to transition and use the Kodiak as my only power source. And that's exactly what I ended up doing. When I got the NV200, I decided to not get a solar system. I didn't buy any new batteries, no charge controllers. I sold everything with the Element to the new owner, and I transitioned to using just the Kodiak as my only source of power, and that's exactly what I've been doing for the past 6 months now. My logic behind making the switch to the Kodiak full-time stems from a few different things. You know, I think the main thing, those of you that have been following along for a while will know that I definitely had my share of issues with solar systems in the past, and I think as I continued to have those issues and figure things out, I learned a lot about solar, and I was able to get my last version of the solar system just right. It definitely worked really well and did what it was designed to do for the last year or so while I was still living in the Element. But at the same time, it had its limitations as well, right? Like I never ran an inverter on it, so I could never really power major appliances, like an Instant Pot, for example. I couldn't even really use my laptop that often on. There were definitely limitations to it. The bottom line is, AGM batteries are they're not as good as lithium batteries, and lithium is a lot better. Now that I've had a lithium battery in the Kodiak, I don't know if I really ever see myself going back to a lead-acid system. At this point, 6 months or so into using the Kodiak as my full-time power source here, I don't really have too many things to talk about, at least not too many negative things. I really have not had many issues with it. Knock on wood, hopefully it stays that way, but it's doing exactly what I could have wanted for it and even more than I would have expected. I mean, like I said, I was coming from a really simple solar system in the Element. It was relatively straightforward, didn't really do too much, and now I'm able to do a lot more than I could ever do with that system. Those of you that follow along know that I cook on the Kodiak. I use an Instant Pot. That is the only thing that I have, the only appliance for cooking that I have in this van right now. I don't even have a gas stove or a camp stove or anything like that, and I've been only cooking with the Instant Pot. Admittedly, I don't cook that often. It's not like I'm cooking every day or anything. I do sometimes eat out as well. I'm usually in cities and whatnot, so I like to, eat out occasionally, and sometimes I find that it's even cheaper to eat out if you plan it right. You can get like 2 meals out of it and things like that. But that aside, I do still cook on it pretty frequently, and it's held up to the demands of running a small Instant Pot. I have the Instant Pot MIDI. I also edit video in here very, very frequently, and my laptop is not a small laptop. It is a power-intensive video editing laptop that is designed to handle 4K video. It uses a lot of power, and I'm able to run it on the Kodiak all day without any issues, especially if it's a day like today and there's full sun. I mean, I won't even put a dent in the Kodiak, guys, if I'm working during peak solar hours in the middle of the day, and then I can even continue to work into the night a few hours after the sun has gone down and still be able to kind of go into it and run the laptop as long as I need to. So it's been working out really well. It definitely provides me with the power that I need to get things done while I'm on the road, working and cooking and everything in between that. I'd say at this point, the biggest issue that I've had with the new power setup in the van here is not even related to the Kodiak at all. It has to do with my fridge, the Dometic CF18 that I have, and this is not a knock on that fridge, by the way. The Dometic CF18 has been an amazing piece of equipment. I've used it for over 3 years now. I think it was probably one of the first videos that I ever made reviewing that fridge back in 2016 when I got it. And since then, it's pretty much been running 24/7, and I have never had an issue with it. So this is not a knock on the fridge. It's been an amazing fridge, but it does have this safety mechanism built into it. Those of you that have Dometic fridges will know about this. Because it's a 12-volt fridge, it's designed to be run off of lead-acid batteries, and it has this mechanism built in where it will cut off if the battery gets below 50%. It doesn't want to put too much strain on the battery, especially if you're plugging it into your car battery, your starter battery. It doesn't want to push that too low so that you can't start your car in the morning or whatever it may be. I mean, it's designed for camping and stuff like that. It makes sense that they have that feature built in. But the problem is that the Kodiak can run below 50%, right? Like I said earlier in this video, it is a lithium battery. It's designed to be run all the way down and then charged all the way back up and then all the way down. It's designed to have that big cycle like that, whereas a lead-acid battery is not. You're not really supposed to run it below 50%. It's not safe for it to go below 50%. But the fridge doesn't know that it's getting power from a lithium battery, so I'm plugging into it, and whenever the Kodiak gets to 50% or lower, it's okay that it gets to that point, but the fridge doesn't think it is, so the fridge decides that it doesn't want to stay on anymore, and that gets kind of annoying in the middle of the night if it shuts off. It's only happened a handful of times because I really don't find myself using more than 50% of the Kodiak's power, and as long as I'm mindful of it, then I don't really have to worry about it too much. But it's a little bit annoying, I guess. My alternative, though, would be to just get a new fridge that doesn't do that, I guess. But I don't really want to do that because the CF18 is hanging in there. I kind of want to see how long I can push it and how much more I can get out of it. It also fits really, really nicely inside the camper conversion the way that I have it set up here. So I'm kind of just hanging on to it and just kind of dealing with that. There are a couple of other options. I could get like an AC adapter plug and then just plug it in to the Kodiak with the inverter on, and then it wouldn't do that as well. But I don't know. I just haven't really gotten around to dealing with it because it hasn't bothered me that much. But occasionally, though, that is probably the most annoying thing that I've been having to deal with the new system here. I did also have one other issue with the Kodiak itself during the past 6 months, and I want to share that with you guys right now. It wasn't necessarily like a problem with the Kodiak. It's a design feature of the Kodiak itself, but it just proved to be a problem for me and my lifestyle because, well, the Kodiak is my only source of power. So basically what happened is I was camping at a rest area on my way. I think I was out to visit Ron, actually, so that I could build and remodel the interior of the van here. It was a few months ago when I was doing that, and I noticed, like, as I was getting ready for bed, that the Kodiak kind of just turned off. And it didn't turn off like it normally does. Like, you know, when the sun goes down, like, it turns, like, the display turns off because there's no more solar going into it. But it still works, right? Like, you could still plug into the 12-volt outlets and be able to get power, charge my phone and my camera batteries and stuff, and I could turn on the inverter. But I noticed that night, I couldn't turn the inverter on anymore, and I could not plug in, and I was not getting power from the 12-volt outlets or anything like that, and it basically wasn't working at all. So my fridge was no longer running, and I was a little bit stressed out because, you know, I was literally about to go to bed. Like, I was laying down, like, putting my head down, getting ready to go to sleep, and I noticed that this happened. And so I got to researching it, and it turns out that the Kodiak has a fuse built into it, also similar to the fridge. It's got like a safety mechanism like that, and I'm not really sure what triggered it to this point. I don't know if maybe I was putting too much on it. I was running my laptop on it at the time, and I think maybe charging my drone battery as well, so I was definitely putting a bit of a load on it, and for some reason that fuse tripped. And when that happened, there's no way, I came to find out there's no way to reset it without plugging into a wall outlet. And I was at this rest area, like off of I-5 in the middle of California somewhere, and there's no outlets. Like, I'm looking around the rest area, like around the bathrooms, looking for someone to plug in, and I couldn't. But what you have to do is you have to take the wall outlet, the AC charger that comes with the Kodiak, and then you plug it in, and then you have to plug the other end into the light bulb outlet, the Kodiak light bulb outlet that is in the Kodiak there, and then when you turn it on, it basically, you give it 5 seconds or so, and then it resets that fuse, and then everything is fine and works well. But it took me a little while to figure that out, and that was a bit of a problem for me because, like I said, the Kodiak is my only source of power, and there's not really any way for me to reset it unless I go somewhere that has a wall outlet. I ended up driving to a truck stop, like a Pilot, or I think it might have been a Love's truck stop or something like that, and I walk in with the Kodiak, getting all these looks from all these people, and I just plug it into the wall, and sure enough, it reset. It was working fine, and I haven't had any issues with it since then. But that one time that happened, it was kind of annoying. That being said, you know, for that to be the only issue that I've had in the last 6 months, I mean, it's not really too much of a problem. I think I can handle doing that a couple of times a year if I have to, in exchange for having an all-in-one solar generator that works and meets all of the needs that I have while I'm on the road here. At this point, I think I definitely have to say that I'm a fan of the Kodiak. It has been so much easier for me than dealing with the old solar systems that I had in the past. No more troubleshooting, no more random things going wrong unpredictably and things like that, and it's more than enough power to be able to meet the needs that I have while I'm on the road here. I'm able to charge it with my solar panel. I have a 175 watt rigid solar panel on the roof. I literally just plug it straight into the Kodiak, don't have to think about anything else, and it charges the Kodiak without any issues every single day. Like I said, especially on days with full sun like this, it'll be charged up all the way by 11 a.m. or so. So it's been working out really well. I also have the other alternative though, which I use from time to time. I can charge it via the 12 volt adapter that comes with it. So I just plug it straight into my cigarette lighter adapter while I'm driving around, and I can charge it up that way as well. So I don't really use that often, but occasionally, say I'm working on my laptop late at night, the sun's already gone down, and I accidentally pushed it a little bit too far, I'll plug in to that outlet there and drive around a little bit while I'm looking for a place to park or whatever it may be, just to give it a little bit of an extra boost and keep the fridge running for the entire duration of the night. And I do still have a promo code as well. The promo code is ELEMENT. There's a link in the description below to Inergy's website, and you can use that code or that link to be able to access their store. That'll get you a 10% discount on anything in the Inergy store, including their new version of the Kodiak, the Inergy Apex. It'll also guarantee that you get the best possible price for the Inergy Apex anywhere online. So definitely recommend checking that out and using that link if you are interested in getting something like the Kodiak here, like the Apex or whatever it may be. And so far so good with it. Like I've said multiple times in this video, guys, I'll keep you all posted into the future as things continue to change with it, but hopefully things don't change and it just continues to do exactly what it's been doing and meeting all of my needs while I'm on the road here traveling. So it's the next day now. I spent the morning driving over the Golden Gate Bridge, and I am now in the North Bay area. The reason that I came up here tomorrow, I'm really excited about this. I'm planning to shoot a video for GTRV. That's the company that did the pop top on my NV200 a few months ago, and they have a fully completed, fully decked out Mercedes Metris pop top camper conversion that is now completed. They just finished it yesterday, so I'm pretty excited. Like I said, I'm going to be shooting a tour video of that van and also probably a couple of other promotional things for them that they can use down the line. Should be a pretty busy day tomorrow, but that'll all be part of the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Like I said earlier, be sure to check out Inergy's website. There's a link in the description below. I'll talk to you all in the next video.